This is a quote from Chris Kirkpatrick. Chris is the founder of Life 180. And Chris says that financial freedom is not about chasing returns, it's about creating clarity, control, and cash flow using a proven framework and becoming the kind of person who can sustain it. How much money you make is important, but what's even more important is how much money you keep. Sadly, it's estimated that 70% of generational wealth doesn't make it past the second generation, and 90% disappears by the third generation. Most of us store our money in bank accounts with institutions that turn around and put our money to work in their own investments. And then they charge us interest and fees when we need to borrow from them. But what if instead of enriching and empowering the banks of the world, you could store your money in a special account that enriches and empowers you and your family? What if that special account provided you with guaranteed compounding interest growth plus dividends, both tax free, along with the ability to borrow against your money in the account without interrupting the interest growth? What if that special account could protect your money from creditors, lawsuits, and even bankruptcy in most states? What if that special account would act as a true hedge for your investments or in other instances as a volatility buffer? What if that special account could be used to pay off debt, as an emergency fund, as an opportunity fund, to supplement your retirement plan, and ultimately as a part of the legacy or inheritance that you leave behind? That's a lot of what ifs, but that special account does exist, and banks own more than $180 billion in these accounts. It's been around and practiced by the ultra wealthy for over 200 years. Now, having this account is important. It's like having a vehicle, but knowing how to use it and then using it in a way that increases financial performance is even more important. I like to call this account your wealth reserve account or your wealth reserve contract. And it's a part of your legacy generation system. It's properly called infinite banking or the infinite banking concept by most in the market. And it's the third pillar of the cash flow hacking system by Life 180. You can use this in your business and in your lifestyle. But what it really is, simply put, is a high cash value life insurance policy with a mutually owned, dividend paying, whole life insurance company designed for maximum cash savings and growth. There are three places in the IRS code that define the compounding interest growth as tax free, the death benefit is tax free, and the dividends are tax free. Some of the benefits of this account include the guaranteed interest and dividends, plus tax free and deferred growth. Your money is liquid and accessible. You have access to policy loans that are protected by the death benefit. There's creditor and litigation protection in most states. It gives every dollar several jobs. There are living benefits for chronic and terminal illness. And then, of course, your death benefit, which is generational wealth. Some of the common uses include as an emergency fund, an opportunity fund, debt consolidation or a wealth transfer, college savings fund, business funding, home improvement, travel or vacation, wedding or special events, or as a supplement to your retirement income. It's to be used as the foundational account that all other accounts draw from. It's very simple. Your extra cash flow and income goes into your whole life policy, but not into the just any regular whole life, into a properly designed whole life policy that gives you high cash value, which is called the PUA, paid up edition. So you store your money in your whole life, which is your wealth reserve account or your wealth reserve contract. And that money is going to grow with compounding interest, tax free, with guarantees plus dividends. You're then able to borrow against it to fill in the blank. Now, different people have different needs and uses for this strategy depending on where you are on your journey. But what's beautiful is as you grow and your needs change, then your use for your own banking system is going to change. But just like any other bank that you borrow from, you have to pay it back. Now, in this case, you are the banker. You're the one in control. So you decide what's the due date. You decide what's the minimum payment. There's no credit check and there's no late fee. So if you're unable to make a payment on the date and time that you decide you want to make, that's fine. There's no late payment. You just catch up later. But you do want to treat yourself as a bank and set a schedule so that you can replenish your account and you can use this over and over and over like a line of credit that's going to just increase in value over time. But what's beautiful, because it's borrowed money, it's tax free. And all the growth that's uninterrupted is also tax free. So you fill in the blanks on how you use it, but you want to treat yourself like the bank would. And in the worst case scenario, at the end of your life, if you have a balance on your loan that you've borrowed against from your equity inside of your insurance contract, then your death benefit will settle that. It'll solve for the balance before it gets distributed to your beneficiaries. So that's the end of life protection that the death benefit gives you, even against the cash value that you're using or leveraging in your living years. Now, when you couple this with a trust, and there's different levels to trusts, but just simply spoken, a trust is going to give you generational legacy, not generational wealth. Remember, we talked about earlier, 70% of generational wealth is squandered by the second generation, and 90% is being squandered by the third generation. And the reason that's happening is because there's no measure, there's no rules or guidelines that those who inherit that wealth have to follow. So if you inherit $1 million and you've never managed more than $20,000, and now you have all this money, chances are you're not going to be able to make it last. And so that's what happens. Money gets squandered either in bad investments, bad decision making, or just gets squandered by not being a good steward and wasting it on frivolous activity. So inside the trust, you can create rules and laws with if-then statements that protects the wealth so that your legacy can live on in perpetuity. Not just one generation, but generation after generation. Your assets are protected. You also avoid probate. Did you know that probate typically will cost someone 10% of their net worth is the cost of probate. So whether you're in probate for 1 month or up to 2 years, it's a very expensive process for those who inherit the wealth to have to go through. And again, you can create rules and laws with if then statements in the trust. So when you tie these together, we're able to protect liquid assets inside of the insurance contract, inside of your wealth reserve contract, and other assets are protected inside of the trust. And of course, the trust can be the owner and the beneficiary of the life insurance contract so that your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 16 through 18 says that long life is in her right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She's a tree of life to those who take hold of her, and those who hold her fast will be blessed. Not might be blessed, not may be blessed, not could be blessed. You will be blessed if you hold on to her. Who is she? She is wisdom. The book of Proverbs is the book of wisdom. And she has long life in her right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honor. Not just riches, riches and honor. And that comes by having what? Wisdom. Now, there's different interpretations of wisdom depending on if you're looking at it secularly from the worldly standpoint or biblically from a believer Christian standpoint. Just from the worldly standpoint, wisdom is having knowledge and knowing when and how to use it. That's a basic definition of wisdom. Having knowledge and knowing when and how to use it. So if we have knowledge of diet, nutrition, exercise, we're going to take good care of our bodies. So therefore, we will have long life. If we have knowledge of financial stewardship, investment, how to protect and grow wealth, and we do it with integrity, then we will have riches and honor just based on the world's interpretation. We can talk one on one more on the biblical interpretation if you'd like. Unfortunately, apparently, most Americans are not practicing wisdom. And that's because 74% of Americans don't have 2 months of savings to cover an emergency, and 40% have no retirement savings. So, in a day and age where we have access to all the knowledge and information that's ever been available in the world through the internet and what's just available through AI, and we still have a problem of lack of wisdom. The average American household is paying $1,583 in debt payments each month. That's just about $19,000 per year. And over the span of 30 years, that equals $570,000. What if there was a way to not just pay off that debt, but to transfer it into wealth? What if you could transfer the debts you owe from banks, creditors, and vendors to debts that you own inside of your whole life insurance contract, inside of your wealth reserve account? That is a debt to wealth transfer. When you pay it off, what's left is a whole life insurance policy with cash value that will continue to grow for the rest of your life instead of an empty bank account. So the question you want to ask yourself is, how much money are you currently saving? And then how much money would you like to save? If you're not saving as much as you'd like, or if you're not saving at all, the question is why? 9 times out of 10, the reason why is because all of the money that we want to save is going towards paying off debts. Let's change this trajectory for ourselves, for our children, and for our children's children. Proverbs chapter 13 through 22 says that a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. We've got you covered with the Kingdom Finance team, from life insurance, and there's so many different products, to trusts, tax strategies, debt management, personal and business credit, entrepreneurship, retirement planning. All of these are tools and resources that you'll have access to for yourself and or for your clients. As an agent on our team, you're going to get access to your own landing page on the kingdomfinanceteam.com, as well as wholelifesavingstrategy.com. And there's a new one coming, which is legacygenerationsystem.com. That's a picture of me and Chris Kirkpatrick, the founder of Life 180, and that's a picture of his book, Cash Flow Hacking. If you don't have a copy of the book, send me an email, or whoever invited you to the meeting, tell them to send me a request, and I'll send a PDF copy of the book that you can have for free, along with a few other books that we highly recommend you read. At this point, I do want you guys to have a chance to hear directly from Chris, but I want to just read this quote to you. Chris says that the human mind, it's my favorite quote that Chris says. I actually have this on the back of a t-shirt. The human mind only allows you to put 100% effort into something that you believe with 100% certainty that you can be successful with. 99% certainty, and your mind will not allow you to do it. You won't be able to do it because your mind won't allow you to do it. We're going to hear from Chris for just a few minutes, and then we'll wrap up.
Hey there. I want to start by saying something important. If you're watching this video, you are different. I'm not saying you're better than anybody else, but you are different in a powerful way. You're someone who is actively seeking clarity, not just settling for getting by. You're searching for something more, something that's meaningful to you. And that is what Life 180 is all about. You see, most financial advice is designed to do one thing, and that is separate you from your money. You're told to chase returns, buy the product with the highest upside, outsource your future to somebody who knows better than you. But here's the truth. You don't need more products. You need a process. You don't need more information. You need alignment. And that is what the Life 180 framework was built to create. See, at Life 180, we believe that financial success isn't about luck or hustle. It's about the equation clarity plus alignment equals the life you desire. That's the formula. You see, clarity is knowing who you are, what you value, where you're going, and why it's important to you. Alignment is simply removing the resistance, whether that's emotional, financial, or behavioral, whatever it is that's keeping you stuck. When those two things come together, your outcomes become inevitable because you're no longer fighting yourself. You're no longer operating from a place of fear. You're no longer making decisions based on what the world tells you you should care about. You're moving from your truth. You are in alignment. And from that state, you have the ability to build wealth differently. So let me walk you through the 5 pillars of the Life 180 framework. We call it cash flow hacking, and it's a system designed to create clarity, control, and increase contribution in your life. Now, pillar 1 is personal growth and expansion. Everything begins with you. If you're not growing, your finances won't grow either. This is about mindset, identity, and becoming the kind of person who creates the life that you actually want to live. Pillar 2 is debt management. We don't shame debt at Life 180. We use it wisely. We teach a strategy called cash flow indexing to help you prioritize, restructure, or eliminate debt based on how it affects your cash flow, not just based on interest rates. Pillar 3 is savings optimization. And this is where we build your growth fund, which is a combination of emergency savings and opportunity capital. We use specially designed whole life insurance as a foundational tool to help you create safety, liquidity, and long-term control of your capital. Pillar 4 is identifying your investor DNA. This is where everything changes. Instead of chasing hype, you start investing in alignment with your values, strengths, and vision. We help you discover your investor DNA so you can stop asking the question, what should I invest in? And start asking, what is aligned with who I am becoming? Pillar 5 is tax and legacy planning. This is about protecting your wealth through minimizing taxes and creating generational impact and building a legacy, not just one of money, but one of values. We use the Rockefeller method to ensure that your money continues to work long after you are gone. Now, I want to pause here because what I just shared sounds a lot like a financial framework, and it absolutely is. But it's really more than that. It's really a framework for freedom. Most people think money is the goal. It's really not. Money is simply a mirror. It reflects who you are, what you believe in, and what you're aligned with. That's why so many people make good money and still feel broke, still feel stressed, still feel like no matter what they do, it's never enough. And this is what we help you shift. We help you get aligned at the identity level. We help you move from your shadow state, which is what the state where you're driven by fear, scarcity, and survival, into your aligned state where you make decisions from your values, your purpose, and your vision from the future. Because when you change who you are being, your financial life changes with it. This isn't a course. This isn't just another financial program. This is a coaching process. It's designed to walk with you through every stage of transformation. Whether you're just getting started, climbing out of debt, building wealth, or preparing for retirement, we meet you where you are and walk you forward. You are not alone in this. We provide community, coaching, content, a proven plan, and much, much more. All this is designed to help you create a life that is meaningful to you. We live in a world that's constantly pulling us out of alignment with our values and beliefs. We're surrounded by social media, politics, fear-based marketing. There are even well-meaning advisors who don't take time to understand your actual goals, giving you advice. You need a way to come back to center, to make decisions from your power, not your panic. And that's what Life 180 gives you. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional, because financial transformation doesn't have to be hard. It simply has to be aligned. It's really not that complicated. So the question isn't, will this work for you? The question is, are you ready to stop guessing and start leading your financial life from a place of clarity and alignment? If so, here's what to do next. Get back to the person who shared this video with you, or click on the link wherever you're watching this to schedule a clarity call. On that call, we'll help you get clear on where you are, what's in the way, and what steps you can take to get in alignment with the life you truly want. There's no pressure, just support, strategy, and clarity, because at the end of the day, you don't need more hustle, you need more alignment. We'd be honored to help you get there.